Hello everyone, welcome back to Financial TheraPeace. On this channel, we talk about how to improve your relationship with money so that you could attain financial freedom and peace in your life. If this is your first time, thank you for joining me and welcome. This video is about money and marriage or relationships. So please subscribe below, like and comment, and share this video with anyone that you think might find it useful. We all know that money is so important and that it touches basically every single aspect of our lives. Money plays a major role in all of our relationships, but when you add love into the mix, it gets very personal and complicated. So in this video, we'll talk about the common money issues that couples face and some tips on how to resolve them so that you can improve your relationship. I think we've all heard the statistics on how money can lead to a lot of stress in relationships. Financial problems is actually the #1 cause of divorce in North America, and I'm pretty sure the statistics are similar in the rest of the world. Money problems can lead to depression and other type of mental health problems. Fights around money are usually more intense and last longer than other arguments in relationships. And the more a couple fight about money, the higher the likelihood of divorce is. If you're fighting about money, you probably have very low intimacy in your marriage. You're not spending much time together. And there's also probably a lot of issues around trust. And I'm pretty sure you've had conversations about it and you've tried to resolve this problem, but you haven't had any luck. Here, I want to share some tips that hopefully might help you get started on talking about these issues and can help you get to a place where you're feeling better about your finances within your marriage. The first point I'd like to make is before you get started on this work of resolving your money conflict is to understand your relationship with money and each other's. We all came into the marriage with our own money script or your money history, which is how you relate to it based on your childhood. And all of that is influencing how you spend money, how you feel about it, and the decisions that you make. I actually made a video about understanding your relationship with money. I will put the link up here. So if you haven't seen it, please take a look and watch it so that it can give you some ideas of why you perhaps deal with money the way that you do. Once you understand each other's money script, then you might not be as judging or as harsh as you once were because you're coming from a place of understanding. Now you might have an idea of why your spouse behaved the way that they do. And you can also identify like some of their money script, because if you're married, hopefully you know each other's family pretty well and each other's history. So based on what you know and how you see their family relate to money and their upbringing, you may be able to identify some of why they behave the way that they do. The problem with that is if you're the one identifying their money script and they're not doing that work themselves, then there's not going to be that self-awareness that can really produce change. It is important for each individual to do their own internal money work to analyze themselves and figure out why they have this relationship with money. And if you can do this step, which I think is probably the hardest thing to do, especially if one person is not willing or doesn't have a good sense of self-awareness, then it might not be that doable. But if you're willing to put in the work to identify your money script and you're understanding your relationship with money, then that could definitely help you better with the next steps that I will be discussing. The second point I'd like to make is that you need to commit to transparency and honesty. Seriously, if you're having money issues in your relationship and you really want it to work, then it's gonna take a lot of effort and work on your end. And you have to be willing to be as open, as transparent as possible so that you can be on the same page and figure out how you're going to make this work. And this complete honesty and transparency only applies to people who are in Otherwise, healthy relationships. You may be having some serious problems around money, but otherwise, you're married to a decent person and there's zero abuse, whether it's physical, emotional, or verbal. You're not having any issues around fear and you feel secure in your relationship otherwise, and money problem is probably the main issue that you have. Everything that I've discussed so far requires open communication. You won't get very far in your conversations if you're not communicating respectfully and openly with each other. So for this to work, you have to both commit to being as honest and as sensitive as possible when you talk about money, because it is a very sensitive and personal topic. Just talking about it, people get really defensive or stressed out. So in order for you to make progress in this area, it is important to be very careful with how you discuss your problems and your tone of voice. You're gonna have to tread very carefully here as you work on this issue. Under this communication piece, you'll first need to sit down and put everything on the table, all of your cards. You need to talk about what you owe, what you own, and what you earn. In order for you to make decisions about your life as a couple, then you all need to be on the same page. You need to understand what you're working with, right? That it's gonna be very difficult to make plans for the future if you don't really know where you are now together as a couple. So be as transparent as possible, everything on the table, so that you know where you stand right now. Once you do that, then you could start thinking about what your goals are. You can define them individually, as family, and professionally, personally, and talk about what you want in life. Once you have that goal set, then you could work on the how. Create the plan to help you achieve those goals. This is where budgeting comes in, where you're talking about your expenses and where your money should be going, so that you could work towards your goal. The next thing is, once you have your goals, it is very important that you actually honor that agreement and stick to the plan. It's gonna be pointless if you create a budget and you talk about your goals, but yet you're not willing to actually follow through and do what you're supposed to do. And this is where accountability comes in. So you holding each other accountable, and if you agree on doing things a certain way, then you're going to have to commit to doing it that way, and be open for your partner to come and talk to you about it if you're not actually following through, and also do the same for them, because if you have a common goal, then you definitely need to agree to actually follow through on that agreement. The next point is, you have to decide what works for you as a couple. There's so many different ways you can handle money, and it's a very personal choice. I believe that once you're married, there's no longer his money or her money. It should be our money. But even when you decide that everything is yours, there's so many ways to manage or handle it, and you'll have to decide on what works for you. A lot of people right now are following the 3-pool of money method, where there's his money, her money, and our money, and they're separated out in a way that's fair for everyone, that everyone agrees on, so that everyone have their own autonomy on their own expenses, but then they have their pool of money where they have their common expenses and they're working towards that common goal. So you have to decide on what works for you, but just make sure that it's healthy, it's fair, and it's something that actually makes sense, and that it could help you achieve your goal, and it could help you have financial security, freedom, or stability, however you want to call it. Lastly, and this may actually be the first step for you if you're having some serious problems around money in your relationship, is to get financial help from a third party if you feel like you cannot make any progress your way. If you can't work this out on your own, despite following these steps, or if you've attended workshops before, you've tried to talk about money, you've even been to therapy, and just doesn't seem to work, perhaps you can start talking to someone like me, a financial therapist, or someone who understands that money is not just numbers and that it's very emotional and psychological. Someone that could help you work on the emotional aspect of it as well as the financial aspect. So you want to talk to someone who understands psychology and who understands money. So as a bonus, I want to talk to the people who are not yet married. If you're in a relationship, or when you're in that relationship, please do talk about money before you get too serious. You want to understand that person's attitude and beliefs around it, and their expectations, and how they plan to, handle finances in a marriage, because it does matter. Don't think that, oh, as long as we love each other, we'll be okay. Seriously, marriage is like a partnership. You want someone that you're compatible with, and financially as well. You want to know that even if you're not where you want to be financially, but that you have similar goals and you're willing to work on whatever issues that you have in order for you to, to work together so that you could achieve your goals. And you have to be willing to plan and to work towards a goal, because it will matter. And especially when you have kids, then it's going to need to happen. So please do talk about money when you're dating, and make sure that you're financially compatible. I really hope you found this video helpful, because I know money problems are very stressful, especially in a relationship. But if you really love each other and you are committed to making your relationship work, it is possible to work on your financial problems and get to a point where you're feeling secure in them. It just takes a little work so that you can understand how you relate to money. You could take the time to, think about where you are now, where you want to go, and create a plan for you to get there. As I said before, if you feel like you cannot handle this on your own, or you probably don't even want to, do it by yourself, then do get help. I'm here, so send me an email, check me out, or send me a comment. I would be happy to talk to you about any money problems that you may be facing, and help you improve your relationship and your money. Thank you again so much for watching. Don't forget, guys, to please subscribe below, like and comment, and share this video with your friends. It's a way of saying thank you for making this video and for sharing these important tips with me. I really appreciate you. I'm wishing you love and peace and blessing. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.